Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie and I'm delighted to be joined by Diego Gosmar, Chief Innovation Evangelist at XCALLY. Diego, thanks very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, fine. Thanks for having me here, Charlie.
Well, it's great to have you join us for this video discussion where we're going to be talking about the ethical quandaries, the new ethical quandaries almost, of conversational and generative AI. And to kick us off, I know you've kind of put together these 4 pillars of sustainable conversational AI. And I was wondering if you could maybe walk us through these and tell us why each is crucial in the development of this technology.
Sure, thanks for your question. When we deal with conversational AI, and more generally speaking, anything about real-time AI communications, I try to run through 4 main pillars, as you mentioned. The first one is really about fairness. So fairness is something about the possibility and the struggling also to reduce bias and discrimination. And that's really also something very related to trust worth. Okay, so the more fair we are, the more the AI will be trustworthy. The second pillar I like to mention is about what I call XAI or explainable AI. So explainability is really another important feature we are looking for when we design conversational AI solutions, because it's really about the transparency and possibility to reproduce what we have in place. So it's really important. And the fact is that the more complex the AI models become, the less transparent they are. Or let me say, the more complex they are, the closer we are headed towards something like the black box dilemma. So especially when we deal with critical situations, vulnerable people, or anything that it's really important, it's really useful to be able to explain why an AI model took a decision or another decisions. So imagine, I don't know, you are driving a self-driving car and you want to be able to understand why the AI model took a decision or another. The same while I'm on a live call with a critical situation, vulnerable people, I'd like to know after why the AI model took such decision and gave to the customer some answers or some other answers. So explainability. The third pillar is about privacy. Of course, privacy is really important. It's not just about the AI models. In this case, it's even more about the data we use to make the training to the AI models. That's pretty much important as well. And finally, I'd like to mention also the capability to control the entire process of AI design or conversational AI design. And that's the fourth pillar, which it's called governance or governable. So fairness, explainability, privacy, and governance are 4 important pillars when we deal with conversational AI design.
I think that's really helpful that you've helped to kind of distill all of that into those 4 pillars. And I do also kind of want to talk a little bit about your background in this area and the fact that you are part of the kind of Open Voice network. And it has a kind of trust mark initiative to reinforce those pillars that you've just gone through and minimize some of the dangers associated with voice and conversational AI. Could you maybe walk us through kind of some of those dangers that you see with the application of conversational AI and kind of why you felt the need to put those pillars together?
Yeah, sure. Well, Trustmark Initiative is an initiative from Open Voice Network, an independent group of Linux Foundation, non-profit organization. And it's really about conversational AI with focusing on voice and text, but I will say more voice. And when we deal with voice, being that conversational AI solution or conversation analysis, we are really dealing with something very personal. So voice, it's probably one of the most important personal biomarkers. If I able to detect your voice, I can really understand something very important with AI. Recently, it's able to understand, for example, our identity. Many AI biometrical solutions are used in order to identify yourself. You can use AI to perform authentication, authorization, and so on and so forth. It's also possible to detect the personality of a person, the ethnicity of a person. Not to mention that with the conversation analysis, it's possible to detect the emotional status of a person as well. And finally, I would mention also the possibility to detect the health, maybe some diseases like COVID or other kind of diseases. So as a result, voice it's really something very personal, which require, of course, a strict management in terms of the four pillars I mentioned before: fairness, explainability, and privacy as well, and security and other pillars that the Trustmark initiative is going to add on top of that.
Yeah, it's quite scary actually when you think about all the kind of voice biometric systems that are in place that already
Yeah,
initially
maybe.
take your voice.
Yeah, Jeremy. Maybe I can mention also, for example, a privacy risk example is also recently with generative AI, the possibility for such kind of powerful models to memorize the training data, which is on one side a good thing, on the other side a bad thing, because some of them actually it's been demonstrated they cannot forget the training data. So with some kind of malicious software, it's even possible to retrieve some part of the original training data, and that's quite scary. And there are techniques to reduce this risk, of course, but it's important to rely on some organization which have the expertise to apply such risk mitigations.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point that you've mentioned in terms of kind of mitigating that risk too. Kind of, you've also created this set of ethical principles alongside the pillars that we've previously gone for, and those are ethical principles for conversational AI. Could you maybe also run through those for me?
Yeah, the Trustmark initiative ran through several pillars. It's also available online, an online e-learning platform and training for that. It's a free course that you can take, and I like that because the initiative is also trying to address, especially ethical principle for reducing bias and address also how to better use conversational AI for vulnerable users, even children, and people who needs very careful attention. In terms of pillars, I've already mentioned the four ones. So the transparency, the privacy, the fairness, and governance. In addition to that, the Trustmark initiative also adds a few more ones, which are sustainability. When we deal with AI, it's important also to understand that the AI model are not for free. So they really consume a lot of energy, a lot of waters as well. Inclusivity, which is related to fairness as well. And also another pillar very much important, it's the accountability. So it's important to design conversational AI solution, taking into account the entire process step by step and who is accountable for during each during each step.
Yeah, and I think that's lots of really great stuff there. But for people, for businesses that are watching this, it does sound quite daunting almost, the process of sticking to all these principles and the pillars. But yeah, it is very possible to do so and create a conversational AI engine that does very much work for your business. And I was wondering maybe if you could share an example of an enterprise that is stuck to these principles, implemented conversational AI, and achieved kind of fantastic business results as a consequence of that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, there are multiple risks, as I mentioned, but if you're able to tackle them, there are many benefits and opportunities by using conversational AI solutions. So, a few years ago, we've been only able to start designing proof of concept experimental projects, but since a couple of years now, we have in place really real projects on productions. Okay, so I'd like to mention, for example, one of them is in the healthcare industry, one of the largest healthcare organization here in Europe. By using conversational AI ethically and responsibly, with a good design, we've been able to manage up to 80% of the voice call with a machine, with a voice bot. Besides that, also other benefits are there. Like, of course, with conversational AI, it's easier to manage a 24-hour support. The call waiting time is dramatically reduced. And at the end of the day, we noticed also that with the new generative AI, conversational AI possibilities, the perceived quality of the service is really comparable to a human, to the human one. So to wrap up in this example, 80% of interactions has been managed by a machine, by an AI solution, and only around 10% of the interactions needed escalation to human people. And another 10%, I would say, you can count on that, about not managed or abandoned calls. So it's really been a success in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would add to that too is there's lots more kind of case studies and resources on the XCALLY website from some of those projects, like the healthcare that you've mentioned there, Diego. So I'll put a link into the XCALLY website in the description box for anybody that wants to dig deeper. But I think that's maybe a great place to end today's chat. I think it's a very important conversation. So thank you very much for joining me today, Diego.
Thanks again for having me here, Charlie.
Excellent.
Take care.
Excellent. Yes, and you too. And also I want to thank everybody for watching. Bye for now.